Good afternoon, everyone. So I want to use my 5 minutes to do three things. I want to speak firstly directly to the men in the room, younger and older, and I want to explain to you what patriarchy is. I then want to talk about what the relationship is between patriarchy and capitalism. And the last thing I want to do is to give you practical ideas for what we can do as soon as this discussion is over to begin to dismantle patriarchy. I'm going to be as simple as possible deliberately because I want you to get the point. Patriarchy, for the boys and the men in the room, because women don't need explanation, they live it, refers to the way in which the world is organized such that you and I benefit unfairly and for no other reason than the fact that we have testosterone and penises. And I'm going to give you examples of how the world is organized to reward you for things that you do not deserve as a boy and as a man. Firstly, it is far more likely for a girl or a woman to be sexually harassed, physically beaten up at a taxi rank, at home, in the streets, in public spaces, than you or me as boys and as men. Because public spaces, the domestic space, is designed in such a way that it allows boys and men to have enormous power and to be less likely to be survivors of various forms of violence. That is how patriarchy works. Patriarchy works in such a way that this will be, if you had to go to 50 public events this year, probably the only one where out of 5 people on stage, only one is male. Because most discourse is dominated by men. We set the agenda. We set the agenda on the airwaves. We set the agenda in the boardroom. We set the agenda in terms of the curriculum. We are the ones that decide that you should never learn about a woman that existed in Angola that was powerful. That is how patriarchy benefits you and me. The boys who are in uniform in this room, even if you come from a poor family, you will never miss school because of a period. The girls in the room will worry whether there's enough money to be able to afford tampons, and whether or not it's better to pretend that you have a headache so that you don't go to school because you feel ashamed that you are not in a position to be able to afford sanitary pads and towels. That is how patriarchy works. Patriarchy works in such a way that if you have the loudest voice in a forum which comes with testosterone in your body, you will be perceived to be the most persuasive, even if you were talking cut. Because patriarchy says that conviction and being compelling means being male, being big-bodied, being aggressive, and speaking with a level of incredible confidence that was instilled in you because of how you were raised. Whereas a woman with a slight body, different comportment, different voice, we naturally think she's not ready for promotion. That's what patriarchy means, and that's how it operates. Secondly, what's the relationship with economic power? Capitalism requires you to be a patriarch, and it rewards you for being a patriarch. The things that I've just listed, and there's many more, but I'm keeping it short for the 5 minutes duration, are things that get rewarded in our economic system. There's certain kinds of leadership styles that get rewarded in the boardroom. I've been called as a communications coach by law firms that have told me, Christi is about to be promoted, but we think she's not ready to be a partner in our company. She just needs to improve her ability to communicate. And when I assess her, as a communications expert, it turns out there's nothing wrong with how she communicates, but that the standards that HR uses for deciding whether or not she is convincing in how she speaks are standards that favor the way Eusebius speaks rather than the way Azania Mosaka speaks on 702. That is how patriarchy rewards us in the boardroom even. And I think you cannot talk about how to eliminate patriarchy, Christi, unless we also talk about, and we'll come back to it in the Q&A, how patriarchy is related to capitalism and to economic power. As I was in the Uber on my way here, I thought to myself, I wonder how many women own cars that they can drive from different parts of Joburg to the Apartheid Museum. If you don't have that economic power, you can't even come to this discussion where we're going to tackle the strategy and tactics for smashing patriarchy. Economic power and capitalism is a friend of patriarchy. Lastly, what can we do differently? There's lots of small things. When you want to completely eat the elephant, you need to start with one bite at a time. Step one, don't be scared that the elephant is big. Start biting. What does that mean practically? Police each other's language, boys. If someone says, yeah, I want to smash that chick, stand up and be counted. It is not acceptable. I can easily, in a 5-minute little speech, show you the connections between language usage, attitudes that are patriarchal, and other forms of violence in the economy, in the academy, in public spaces, and then you will see that it is no small deal to begin to tackle language, for example. Secondly, and I'll stop here because they're probably not represented here. When I speak to corporates, and if you are in an executive position or you know someone who is, please go and give them this message. I spoke at Standard Bank a couple of weeks ago, and it's a pity the CEO wasn't in the room, because I wanted to say to him, here's a practical thing you can do differently if you are genuinely an ally of women and you have enormous economic power in the boardroom. After this discussion, go and call the salaries department and go and check whether there is parity in the wages and salaries amongst your staff. The answer will be no. The United Nations have told us, and I think this is an overestimation, that for the same job that men and women do, women will be paid 75% of what men get. So if I'm a moderator of an event like this, and I say get 100 Rand, chances are Christi today is only getting 75 cents for exactly the same skill set. So if you have economic power and you are serious about dismantling patriarchy, you can right now send an email with an executive order saying it stops here and it stops right now. Thank you.